Hi everyone, welcome back to yet another Charting from Blank episode. I think this is episode 31 of the Charting from Blank series. A series where I take a chart that I have not looked at for a while and do a complete rundown and walkthrough of the chart from the higher time frame all the way down to the lower time frame. Looking for ideally a spot plan for long-term positioning if anyone is interested into positioning into that coin, which today is going to be on Woo. And also some intraday setups that we could potentially be looking at playing out over the course of the month or the rest of the week. So we'll get into it. So like I just mentioned, today's episode is going to be on Woo, a coin which has a bit of a following, given Woo is one of the last exchanges that you can trade on in multiple countries right now. Without using a VPN, etc., etc. It has a bit of a following on CT. I see it pop up now again on CT. Not personally used the exchange, but it seems like it has some pretty good feedback overall. So we're going to start off on the monthly chart, and clearly we can see right now that there's a pretty clear level for Woo right now, moving into this 0.14 region. When we got the area like this, I prefer to mark it as a rough region rather than a specific level. But we can see, it essentially deviated this monthly range high area, and since then has moved itself back towards range low. So a lot of these charts are doing a similar thing or around here. Clearly Woo had other ideas, and it's one of those coins that has actually traded back towards its range low areas, and actually pre end of 2023's a run up. So first off the bat, it's definitely a weaker coin, given, like I just mentioned, a lot of coins have continued to hold above that range break. Whereas Woo has failed to hold and is back towards range low. So not a bad place now to start to look at positioning into it, that's for sure. So yeah, the monthly, I think you want to be looking at, we've got monthly level up here. You're most likely going to be wanting to see a break back above 0.26 on the monthly for an attempt at breaking that range once again. We swept this monthly flat candle here, which is a good start as well. These can act as imbalance, but overall, like, swept some nice lows. Like I said, back towards that pre-move up low back at the end of 2023. So we're going to go on to the weekly now. I feel like the higher time frame, I've got some clear levels dotted out there that we can work with on the higher time frame. So yeah, weekly as well, this is a pretty nice area for Woo to continue to hold above. It makes sense to look for somewhat a reversal from this region, right? Being that it is a range low. I think any break back below this level on Woo, you're going to be looking at much lower prices. Something I like to also map out is a weekly structure here. We can see that the weekly structure remains in this downtrend, right? So on the weekly, I would probably want to see Woo at least break above 0.17, and then maybe we can look at putting in a reversal on it back above this area here. Bear with me. So yeah, back above 0.17 on the weekly, then maybe Woo can look at trading back towards this high. I mean, until then, it's probably just going to chop and bracket in the lower side of this higher time frame range. How are momentum oscillators looking? Curling up slightly on the awesome oscillator along with the RSI, which is a good sign into range low. So maybe over time there's a chance of price starting to bottom here, but definitely on the higher time frame there's no clear sign of a reversal just yet. I'm simply basing the fact off structure remains in this sell side heavy sort of find a low, breakdown, find a low, breakdown, find a low. Until we sort of invalidate the structure, I wouldn't be interested on the higher time frame positioning into something like this just yet. That's just my personal preference on these sort of coins. This level even goes all the way back to here, right? Back towards this sort of range that we formed here during last summer. So I would say this 0.7 is definitely 0.17 is definitely a significant area for Wu to get back above. That's for sure. If we look at potentially putting in a reclaim above here, we could look at trading towards these highs up here. If Wu can reclaim 0.17, I think there's a good chance you can see a move towards like 0.23. Until then, just sort of expect it to continue to range in here. What I could do is leaving those highs on. So that's a nice area to look for. So we're looking at the daily chart right now. Go back to the weekly, just check I didn't miss anything. Nope. So yeah, looking at the daily in the lower time frame, we are sort of just forming a range under this weekly higher time frame level. Essentially, this is our range here. So I think from a long perspective right now, I would definitely want to see Wu backfill back towards 0.15, anywhere towards here to look for triggers for a long. I'm not sure how big that range is. Around a 7 to 8% range. But definitely if Wu rejects here and retests back into sort of a 0.4 to 0.15, I would look for, whatever triggers you take to take a long position, I'd look for a reversal into this region. Equally, this is not a place I would be a fan of positioning into Wu given its range high area. Then you've got this sort of toppy price action here, along with, we are just in this lower range. This is a weekly level here. So, but definitely a place that we could be looking at putting in a reversal and selling off back lower. The other case was the one I mentioned just before, was a reclaim back above 0.7. If it can reclaim here, I think there's a pretty nice chance of seeing a move towards the highs up here, and maybe you see, a bit of a meme line breakout form on this as well. Overall, not a bad chart. There is definitely weakness in this chart, and I don't think you want to be focusing on the weaker coins right now, but much more preferable towards the coins that have continued to hold above these higher time frame range breaks we got from back in December. Wu clearly has other ideas and has shown weakness into this low, but that doesn't mean that we can't start to form a bottom here. Bottoms do tend to take time, and maybe moving into October you could see some expansion out of this range. Or obviously if BTC starts to move up, then you can look back to Wu and potentially position in if BTC is showing signs of a reversal. So we're looking at the VWAP values right now. Currently trading below the quarterly VWAP, or around the quarterly VWAP, which we can see already rejected twice this quarter. Also trading around the prior monthly value area high, which we can see also acts as a significant area for Wu. It attempted to accept outside this region, but failed. Following that, we sold off again. So from here, it's not a place I'd be looking at longs. And like I said, I think if you got a retest back towards 0.15, that looks really nice actually. That prior monthly VWAP. And developing a weekly value area low. So yeah, look for longs towards 0.15 to 0.14. I think that's a pretty nice place for Wu to put in a reversal, as long as BTC can hold above 56 and 55k. Other than that, you could potentially look at chasing a long above 0.17 and target 0.23. When trading in this range, continue to, you know, trade the ranges as you would do any other time. There's no difference, right? Long into the lows, look for reversal into the highs. That pretty much sums it up for today's Trying from Bank episode. Posting these almost weekly in Utopia Discord. The link is in the description, and feel free to follow me on my Twitter if you do not already. Thanks guys, and I'll see you next week.